Hello everybody, I'm Steve and welcome to Greenside Up, and today we're doing a bit of an update on the September sowings. So these were all sown 7 days ago, and it's just an update and a bit of a catch up with those today. Right, these plants, this is the bed I was just sat on and these plants were actually sown at the start of August, and they were sown in the small polytunnel, which is just over there. You can just make it out over there, hiding behind the butter beans. And they were sown directly into the ground. And I planted these out probably 6 days ago, because I did all the seed sowing the day before. And I said at the time that they would take a week to sulk and then weeks to bulk. And this is kind of a mantra of mine. That's when you put new plants in, especially when you're planting them bare root like I was with these, they will sulk for a week, but you can see now just about all of them have picked up and they're now getting away, growing away. As long as your soil's fine enough, when you put those really fine roots in and you keep them moist, they want to grow. You know, you've given them food in the compost that they're in, given them water, they're in nice warm soil, cosseted, fantastic, they just want to grow. So we've got half a dozen green Mazuma, half a dozen red streaks Mazuma, and half a dozen pak choi, no, not pak choi, tatsoi. That one at the back has got a hat on. That butternut squash there you can see the sun now, you can get going a bit better. Let's go and have a look at some of the seedlings. Right, this is my broccoli rabe, and this variety is Broccoletto Quarantino Riccia, and normally broccoli rabe is like a 60-day crop, and it's pretty standard. I mean, many growers have grown this, and I grow it every year, but I saw this one and it's reputedly a 45-day crop. We'll see. I've got it timed for 20th of this month, 20th of September will be 45 days, and we'll see if we can get a crop from it then. It grows in longish sort of shoots, about this sort of size, with a little cluster at the top that looks similar to a broccoli. I'm not entirely sure that it is. And you harvest the whole stem. So you've got the stem, couple of leaves, and the bud at the top. Lovely steamed. It's got quite a bitter taste, so it's really good for things like, I don't know, fatty meats like let's say a pork chop or something, because it will cut through that grease of a pork chop if you like eating the fat, that is, you know. So that's my little tip for that. We'll see how these go. And I've just this morning, it's why they're a bit floppy, because I'm sort of they weren't meant to be, but they were multi-sown in modules. I've cut out all the extra plants this morning, and you can just see little stems here to let these grow on their own. So these should race away now. So that broccoli rabe, or as the Italians call it, rapini, was sown on the 6th of August. So that's another August sowing, the same as the Mazumas and tatsoi down there. Now moving on to the September sowings. I've got 4 rows here of cabbage. These are spring cabbage, and you can see they're just coming up, 7 days, and they're up. But even better than that, over in this bed, it's all guns blazing over here, and I've got a couple of lines of turnips, and then a couple of rows of beetroot, which are just starting to come through in the middle there. Some chard. These will, you know, when they get up to a decent size, these will be hoofed out and put elsewhere on the plot, spread out. Then I've got some of these, well, what I call the German beer radish. They're a long radish, about 3 to 4 inches long, and then a normal radish there. So these have all germinated and got away nicely. Incidentally, while you're growing these, I'm growing these in no dig, so this is compost, and the top inch or so can easily dry out. So while you've got seeds there near the surface, keep it moist. I know the compost will mulch the ground underneath to keep it moist, but you must water the top and keep it damp. I mean, I've watered this morning about half an hour ago, and look, it's like powder. It's very slightly damp, but powder nonetheless. So I'll give that another water before I go home today. Let's go and have a look in the large tunnel. So in the main tunnel, and on this hanging shelf, just keeps the pests away from it as much as possible. And I can use slug pellets up here safely if I detect a problem. Don't use them all the time, just if I detect a problem. And what I've been doing, you can see here, is just snipping off the extra plants. I always sow in a rush and I end up with little clusters like this, so it's just a case of just snipping them out. You can, if you're lucky, and some of these plants, they will just pull out root and all, so you can also do that. And you just want to leave obviously one behind to grow on, because while you've got two plants in there, those two are going to compete in there for the moisture and for the feed that's in the compost that they're sown in. So remove the competition and that one will flourish, and I'll just do that over the whole lot there. It looks a lot, but I mean, I just did this tray before I started filming, and it took me probably a minute. So I'll go over all those, reduce them all the cells down to one plant, and they'll grow away and flourish nicely. So they're sort of a tatsoi, a pak choi green and a pak choi red. And I've got ishikura down the end there, the Japanese bunching onion. Now in this last tray, we're going back to the start of the video now, because these here are a Mizuma red streaks, which are what are planted in the middle of that very first bed, and this is a Mizuma normal green on the end here. I've got some more Chinese cabbage. Now I'm not going to be cutting these down the same as I have done with the last plants. These are all for pricking out. So what I'll do is I'll come along, I'll take the seed label out, dig out a little clump, very carefully separate them, and this is where the sieved compost comes in handy. If you've got sieved compost, these seedlings will fall apart from each other really easily, and you won't be damaging them. You could then pot these on and let them grow on, and you've got a second sowing of plants somewhere. If you need them, if you've got bare space in your ground anywhere, you've got somewhere something to plant out in them. And the rest of these are this middle one is coriander. This will be the last one to germinate, it always is. And the rest of these are lettuces. These are starting to come through now. I could actually pot them on now, but I'm a bit sort of ham-fisted. I'll wait till it gets a little bit bigger and pot them on then. Well, there we go. So there's some lettuce. This is, again, it's all green stuff for the winter harvest and through the year going into next year. So all of this has happened super quick. All these seedlings sown were all sown a week ago, and you can see they're already up, so it's not too late, and it's perfect at this time of the year. The ground is lovely and warm still, so the seedlings just want to get away. Now the very first bed, the Mizumas and stuff that were in that first bed, I've resown them, they're up there, and again in a week they're up, so it's not too late for them. That broccoli that was also sown at the start of August, the same as those Mizumas outside were, is a 45-day crop, so it's not too late to sow that either. So just have a go, and with all these other seeds and your lettuces and stuff, just get some seeds into some soil and get them growing, because at this time of the year they're just going to rocket away, and you can't ask for anything better than that. So to follow the progress of this, don't forget, hit the subscribe button, the big red one down here, and then when I post updates, further updates of where these plants are at and where I'm planting them out and how they're growing and eventually harvesting them, you can follow along just by subscribing, and you know, you can see the whole process, and why wouldn't you want to do that? Anyway, that's it for today. Please look after yourselves, everyone. Stay safe, and I'll see you all very soon. Ta-ra now.